players who have fought really hard to get to this spot.
They're both really strong players. I don't think this game's anywhere near over.
We are ready to get this match underway. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Gen Con 2014 in fabulous Indianapolis for the Iron Gauntlet final match here at the Gen Con convention. It's been a long 3 days. I'm Will Shick, Director of Business Development, and I'm here with David D.C. Carlo, Development Manager, to see this final match in action in our new Iron Gauntlet format.
Yep, we have Keith Christianson playing the Signar faction this time around. We've seen Keith before, not always with the same faction. In fact, he's playing against Jay Larsen, who we know often does play Signar, but is playing his Trolls this time around, playing Troll Bloods.
So Jay Larsen switching things up. Jay Larsen, our current reigning Iron Gauntlet champion.
Indeed. Looking to attempt a championship here for the Gen Con Iron Gauntlet Finals.
Make his way to Lock and Load 2015 next year to reclaim his title as well. So tonight we have the two players going against each other. They have made their 75-point lists from their 50-point list, which they used in the first rounds of the event. And we have some pretty interesting choices made by both players in this final matchup.
Yeah, it's an interesting new format that we've got here. I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit more during the event, but being able to kind of have your lists and then bring them together in new ways for the last couple of matches is a very interesting thing that's allowed a lot of versatility. Seen a lot of new things this weekend that people decided to play. And here for the finals, looks like we've got Captain Haley for Signar under Keith Christianson facing off
against Horlock Doomshaper, the Shaman of Dunia. So Horlock 1 for those who like the number system, which we definitely do. It's certainly an interesting matchup here in terms of we've got basically an army made of pure flesh and a wall of flesh, as you described it earlier, against a very low model count specialized Signar force. Not only do we have Haley with a Stormwall and a Squire like you'd expect from a lot of Signar builds like this, we've got a Journeyman Warcaster, which is almost obligatory for the Arcane Shield, although Horlock's got an answer to that with Purification. My favorite part of this list is it's a dual Colossal list, but they're not both on Haley. We've got Gaston Cross coming in along with a Galleon. Where he found that in the streets of Lael, we'll never really know. But he's there to also add some extra firepower to the list. You've got some Gun Mages with a Hunter and the UA, Ayana and Holt, Tactical Arcanist Corps, Alexia in her solo form so that she can ride around on her horse and make some cool Thrall Warriors. Iris, Angel of Retribution, Gorman DeWolf, a Goblin Tinkerer, a single Stormsmith, and Dougal McNail to add some extra punch to that firepower from the Galleon. So very low model count, but a lot of pain that it can bring to the table, a lot of firepower.
Absolutely. And one of the things that is important with having Gaston in the list running a Galleon, you've got 21 points wrapped up in this package that really relies on those 5 wounds sticking around and sticking close enough to really get the most mileage out of it you can. I know in one of the earlier matches, Keith ran a slightly scaled down version of this list, and he lost Gaston early. It was a fortuitous shot for his opponent, rolled really hot, and he pulled out the win anyway. He marshaled his remaining forces and just came back. So that was an interesting game as well.
Yeah, and you've got the Horlock list, obviously. We've got Horlock. We have Mulg, who's almost always with Horlock. Great with the affinity and everything else that goes along with him. A heavy hitter, able to crack those Colossals. And Earthborn, again, another one that is able to crack through heavy armor and also add some survivability to the models in the Force thanks to its Animus. The Axer for the Rush, which adds extra speed since Horlock lacks that ability from his Epic version. Dire Troll Mauler for Rage to pump that strength up even higher. Janissa, classic for the Stone Wall ability to put that out there and make the Earthborn run even better. 2 units of Rune Shapers, which are a classic among Trollblood players these days. Creel Stone, you never see a Trollblood army without one typically. We've got a lot of Warders in this force, adding to that armor, 2 full max units, and Trollkin Champions at the max call, and a Fell Caller to add extra punch. So a really intimidating Trollblood force. I mean, you look at it on the table, and it's just it's gorgeous to see these models, but also to look at that huge army against that very elite Signar force.
Yeah, being able to pack that many wounds into your army list and then also give them all +2 armor, it's pretty effective.
Exactly, and any wounds that Keith does manage to get on those warders is only going to make them more terrible for him on Jay's next turn. So very tough decision. And we were talking earlier about in Jay's list, he took similar for his lower list where he had Haley 1 with a Stormwall, Gaston Cross, the Galleon. He had 3 Stormcallers in that list. He only took 1 Stormcaller here. We were kind of having a conversation about the decision to only take 1. And honestly, when you look at the armor and you look at the effectiveness of that Stormcaller, he's kind of a 1-point filler. And the 1-point fillers I think Keith had between Reinhold and a Stormcaller, neither was going to do a lot, but at least the Stormcaller synergizes a little bit better in this list.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of interesting things in terms of how do people really think about these 75-point lists. Some people tend to make them early on as part of their force composition, but other people will try to keep it more fluid. They don't worry about what they're going to wind up with at the end because they know all their army lists are solid and they can just take the best out of all of them.
And so we have a very normal turn here for a first starting. We have Keith running most of his force forward. The Galleon, of course, running forward. The Stormwall running into position. We had the Arcane Gun Mages and their Hunter advance forward, all to get into striking position on the next turn against Jay Larsen's Trollblood force. You'll notice that we have that fantastic zone in the center for our scenario this game.
Arcane Shield cast on the Stormwall by the Journeyman Warcaster, boosting up his army by 3 points there.
And the scenario this go around is balance of power. So you notice there's a flag on Jay's side, flag on Keith's side, and we have that zone in the center. So the goal of the game is to get 5 CPs, as most scenarios in Iron Gauntlet qualifiers event packet need. You can dominate a friendly flag to cause your opponent to lose 1 CP before the players score their CPs, so you can deny your opponent the CP victory in a pinch. However, you really want to control or dominate the zone for 2 points, or control and dominate the enemy flags for 2 points. At the max you can get in a turn is 3 points, which can really add up if you can pull it off.
Haley has put Arcane Shield on the Galleon, so now both of those Colossals have a mighty armor that will be difficult for the Trolls to break through.
Certainly hefty, but thanks to that Mauler and the Rage ability along with Mulg himself, it's not insurmountable for Jay, but not what you want to see. He's also obviously forcing the Purification move every turn, which is going to be useful if Keith can play to it to his advantage.
Yeah, the Trollblood list, definitely one of the ones that can handle a pair of Colossals.
We see Jay running forward with those champions to start his turn.
Models there that are completely within the trench can feel a little bit more protected from all those ranged attacks, but not by much, really. There's going to be a lot of bullets coming their way very soon. The Creelstone is going to be more important by far than the trench will be.
And we see him put 6 Fury right on the Creelstone right off the bat. As Horlock measures the control area and advances, runs straight up, it looks like. Yeah, runs right into that trench. Not getting fully within, so he won't gain the benefits of it, but he is protected by a wall of champions there.
And he does have 1 Fury remaining for transfers if needed.
See the warders now running forward as well. Oh, there goes the flag. They'll reset that with the judges. Caught it with his hand. You see Jay shaking his fist there in mock frustration. And Jay replaces it really quick, but they're going to do a precise measurement when it's not on his clock, since that really wasn't his fault.
We have one of our judges from the official judge program for Privateer Press, Travis Marg, overseeing this important battle here.
Travis being a trooper this entire weekend and 4-day-long convention. In here more than you, actually, I think, in some ways.
Indeed. No, he certainly has been. He's been a real champ, running all of our events, keeping everything running smoothly, whether it comes to rules questions as an official judge or also logistically, just really taking care of things for us here in the event hall.
So we see the warders along with the rune shapers before also running up, using the wall there for the defensive bonus, +4 defense.
Yeah, even though there are several Trollkin who've managed to gain cover, there are plenty who are going to be right there out there in the open. There's only so many shots to go around, and there's definitely going to be trolls who will be good targets for all of those guns. Yaxer advances a bit.
Also cast Rush on, looks like the Earthborn maybe, or Mulg.
Yep, the Earthborn just ran normally.
So Mulg's got that extra speed on him from Rush, letting him keep pace with the Earthborn. See everyone trying to get into base-to-base with Horlock there, it looks like.
Janissa is going to go ahead and advance here. Or no, run, excuse me. Runs forward.
So you see Travis catching that the Fury wasn't placed for the runs on the Earthborn and Mulg and adding those right there. Given the amount of AoEs on Keith's side and the fact that he wasn't able to really jam into that trench, I'm surprised at how clustered Jay's going here. He really wants to get everything within that aura of the Creel Stone for the +2 arm.
Yeah, I think when you're playing with the Troll Bloods, you don't always think really about blast damage. Like, you're talking about a whole army that's got, as far as on the front lines, the whole army there's got wounds and lots of them, got decent armor to begin with, then the possibility of +2. If Keith is able to draw a bead on the Creelstone unit, though, if he's able to drop a bunch of AoEs back there, boost here and there, whittle down the area, it'll be a big boon for him because this army relies on having that benefit, that +2.
Certainly going to be difficult with all of the base-to-base line of sight blocking positioning that Jay did. Although he's moving those Creel Warriors away, or the Creelstone Barrier unit a little bit away from the mass in the center, which is kind of interesting because now you're talking about removing a warder. Granted, with the cover and the armor bonus, it would take some resources, but if he cracks one of them, he's going to be able to draw a bead to several of those guys.
Yeah, it's not undoable.
So we see Keith checking control area from both Gaston and it looks like Haley there. No purification yet from Jay, although he didn't really have a need to use it, nor was he within range to pull it off. So I expect we'll see that next turn when he gets to respond to Jay's second turn. Keith considering his turn here.
Even though purification is a powerful tool, it is not the end-all be-all, especially against a Haley list. Haley's temporal barrier is one of her most devastating and feared capabilities, and that's not something that goes away with purification.
No.
It doesn't fall into the category of upkeep spell or continuous effect or animus, so it gets to stick around.
So we see Gaston put 3 onto the Galleon. Haley takes 1 from the Squire to give herself 8. And I'm expecting that we'll probably see 3 on the Stormwall here. Keith, as he looked at the table, mentioned that his plan might lead to an early end to this game, either for Jay or for himself. We see Arcane Shield go away, so Haley will not be upkeeping Arcane Shield.
She wants the full 8 for something, it seems.
Journeyman upkeeps on the Stormwall, so we have the Galleon dropping its +3 arm and the Stormwall keeping it.
Checking control area here.
So I think we're clearly going to see a temporal barrier, which will cost 4, so that's half. Wanting to put 3 on the Stormwall maybe for whatever he has planned here, because it's got to be a critical component to it. I'd still leave her with 1, though.
Yeah. Could be that he wants the 1 for an extra point of armor. Could be that he's contemplating other options here.
It's all right. So we see see Keith right there, sorry. Really pondering over the table, thinking about his moves, doing math in his head. That's his typical math bob. We've seen that several times before. He starts to really think about these assassination runs. You see him kind of start to nod and bounce around a little bit. Whoop. Bounces that back a little bit. See him fixing that flag that he bounced a little bit. Everything's back into position. So the gun mages are within 11.5 of Haley based on Keith's measurement here. So if he's looking to deadeye him, he's going to have to move up a little closer with Haley.
Yeah, quite a bit closer, almost her full movement.
I think they're talking about your journeyman gun mage from a league not so long ago here and how Keith wishes he had access to that one.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting league models. I didn't expect to hear comments about them during an Iron Gauntlet finals, but hopefully a lot of you listening have had a chance to play in the various leagues, see the different league models, league scenarios, fight over different maps with different teams. Those are an aspect of the game that's a lot of fun. There's a lot more layers to War Machine. We've got the really high competitive elements, but then we've also got more just for fun type of stuff. Things like the leagues where you just play a lot of games, paint a lot of models, have fun with your friends.
So we have Keith allocating 3 to the Stormwall and then choosing to actually upkeep Arcane Shield on the Galleon. He must have realized that that one focus wasn't going to get what he wanted. Clearly needs to Temporal Accelerate, and with 3 on the Stormwall, he's not going to be able to Deadeye with 1.
Let's go with Temporal Barrier.
Temporal Barrier, excuse me. And not Acceleration.
That would be good, too.
It would be good.
I'm sure he'd love to have that in his arsenal, but that's the wrong Haley.
It is the wrong Haley. He does actually have her as one of his lists, though. He could have chosen her.
Yep.
And Haley, too, with the Squire, Centurion, and Thorn in her battle group. And
So
he used
other option was Lieutenant Kane. Kane 1.
and actually took that one in tier. So he was at tier 4 with that one in theme.
Yeah, a gun mage oriented list.
With a lot of hunters.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that list out on the table earlier, and it's interesting. It's not what you see every day, that many light warjacks. Not a whole lot of lists running 5 light warjacks like that.
So upkept both arcanes. Keith looks like he's ready to move from his control phase now to his turn. We've got Haley moving up, checking her control area really quick. She's too far away from the Squire, so you'll notice Keith is only measuring 14 inches right now. We see 4 inches of advancement now, leaving her with 2 left.
Based on this being a gutsy move here, I'm a little surprised he didn't have the Squire activate first and get up a bit closer, since this is a all-in sort of play anyway.
She uses her last bit of movement to move into the woods. He feats and he casts Temporal Barrier. So I agree that moving the Squire up initially to get that extra 2 inches to make absolutely sure of your measurements would have been useful, but we see him rolling his Iron Gauntlet dice that he got for qualifying for the 2014 finals. He hits and deals 2 damage to the champion in the middle in that wall unit there.
Boosted hand cannon shot.
See the gun mage is activating next. Advances forward. I'm actually a little surprised that he only took 1 shot with his hand cannon, given that she feated, so she could have taken another shot.
I thought that was a giant feat marker there, but yeah, was wondering if I was mistaken based on that lack of a second shot. It is difficult to deal much damage to warders when you're not boosting the damage, of course, but
Still.
still.
POW 12s. They
Yeah.
can do some work. So you see the first shot being lined up here by Keith. He's determining which rune shot to use. So you see a Thunderbolt at the far champion. He's going to try to spread those guys out, I think.
Create the gap that he needs to.
We get a crit knockdown on that roll. And moves him 3 inches away, which is great for Keith. So he's no longer a blocking model to, I'm guessing, Horlock at this point, trying to clear out the path so that he's going to be able to take all of the important colossal shots at him.
Right.
Deciding which gun mage to activate next. He's going to get 2 shots with each of these guys, thanks to Haley's Feet Blitz.
Definitely a good time to roll critical, though. When you can knock those guys down, that really helps with the assassination strategy here.
At that point, it doesn't matter on the distance rolled at all.
Or the damage. I mean, it all just comes down to good hit rolls with doubles. Not a critical this time around, though. But pushes another one of those Trollkin
right
out of the way. Yep.
Keith rolling his damage here, not doing any damage. See him marking his shots here so that he knows how many times they've fired and when they're done. See the second guy. Hit, doing no damage. Yeah, so we see 2 Thunderbolts into the champion right in front of Doomshaper and no crits. And the Thunderbolt push would just push him right back into Doomshaper, so. See a quick measurement here, looks really close.
Might have to have the judge check on it.
It looks like they just called this snipe shot. Did actually do damage on that one with a hefty roll of 11. And he pushed him out of base to base.
Which does negate a couple points of armor. They are still sturdy models. Going to take some doing to get rid of them.
So we see both shots used on that Trencher there, or excuse me, Arcane Tempest Gun Mage there. See a snipe shot again at the one that's right in front of Horlock, needing to remove him. A good hit.
Another good damage roll.
Point of damage on a 9. Does another point. He's gonna peg him to death at this rate.
Yep.
He's doing very well.
But we are seeing that wall of troll flesh doing what it's meant to do. Suck up a lot of damage before even a single model is taken off the table.
See measurement. Quick check for snipe.
Even if he does take another point of damage, though, he'll just make a tough roll.
Then he'll be knocked down, though, so it's inconsequential at that point.
Yep.
See a hit. Can get the point. Does enough points for a tough check.
One more point of damage. That'll do.
This is going to be large here. Tough fails. Champion dies.
Definitely.
So we see a field promotion there.
Enough room to see Doomshaper with quite a few models now.
Doomshaper is definitely in the open at this point there. That rough terrain's not going to offer him anything from blocking models, and it certainly doesn't slow down the storm wall. Plus that range is good enough. We see the Stormcaller walking as close to Doomshaper as possible. Oh, nope, not the Stormcaller, excuse me.
Is that,
it looks like we've got Ayana and Holt.
Okay, it is Ayana and Holt.
I just couldn't see Holt hiding behind that nicely painted storm wall there. See him advancing full 6 inches.
Ayana attempted to use Kiss of Lilith, but was out of range.
Looked about a couple inches there, too. It was a decent amount. Holt.
Now we've got the Hunter. Jack marshaled by the Arcane Tempest Gun Mages.
And the Hunter certainly isn't going to have a problem here reaching Horlock. And armor piercing is going to be quite efficient.
And he's unlikely to miss, thanks to Doomshaper's lower defense and temporal barrier.
I mean, Doomshaper starts already quite low.
Right.
So take a 13 down by 2, and
Yep.
That's what you want. So we see a Thunderbolt with a crit.
Oh,
And crit knockdown on Doom Shaper.
So now his defense is even better.
It is. It's way better now. Oof.
Goes from bad to negligible.
So Doom Shaper is sitting on an arm of 10 at this point. Does 3 points, which Jay will not transfer. Remember, he has that 1 transfer left. But with so many attacks coming at him, it's going to take some very, very unfortunate rolling on Keith's part, I think, at this point.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's even going to do it. This game could be academic at this point. There's a lot of focus on the Galleon, who has a lot of shots available. There's a lot of focus on the Storm Wall. Then you've got the Blitz attack for the Storm Wall.
So you can see Jay conversing with Travis. Keith is saying he's going to go for the drag at this point. Kind of laughingly. See the storm wall activating next, advancing forward, turning directly to face Horlock so it can bring all of its guns to bear.
Yep, definitely don't want either arc, the left or right firing arc, left out of the action on this assassination run.
You see 3 shots and 2 shots from those heavy full metal dice. You can hear those things just clunk on the table from where we are. You see a hit on the knockdown Doom Shaper. Boost damage on this one. 7 points.
So this is one of the big guns.
This is one of the big guns. Yeah, it's one of the big guns. Second big gun, hits no problem. Boost damage. This one's probably going to have to be transferred.
Yep, and does choose to transfer the damage. 7 points. Goes to column 1 on Molg, the Ancient.
Third shot from big gun from Blitz. Hits.
So we've got all 3 big guns shots out of the way at this point.
-2 off the roll. Takes 1 point. So the third big gun shot goes out with a whimper. So we see the chain guns firing next. The metal storms.
First one plinks off of that troll armor. So does the second.
See the third shot on that side hits. 6 damage.
And
First
that
tough
one.
roll. No tough. Game over. Wow.
That was a quick one.
Top of turn 2. Keith Christianson sees his opening, makes a bold move forward and takes it. Jay Larsen, our returning champion, comes in with the loss on this one, but an amazing set of armies on both sides and a fun game to watch, even though it was a quick one.
Yep, had a very aggressive stance, which is important in this particular scenario. You can't let your opponent start dominating that zone and really racking up the points. So Jay took that aggressive stance, which wound up being taking a chance on Horlock's life. Unfortunately, didn't go his way this time, but well played by both players, and we hope to see you guys again real soon for another Iron Gauntlet Championship.
The next one that we'll be at is War Machine Weekend 2014.
Already
St.
looking forward
Louis.
to it. Another great convention. A lot of fun.
It's going to be fantastic. Thank you very much for joining us, guys, for this fantastic game at Gen Con Indianapolis 2014. Look forward to seeing you at the next one in St. Louis, War Machine Weekend 2014.